chairman's consent to my remarks.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to demand that Donald Trump and our Attorney General come clean to the American people and release the Epstein files.
What Congressman Robert Garsha just laid out blows a massive hole in the Trump administration's credibility.
Now, this weekend, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." Well, Mr. President, a lot of people actually care. And we know that MAGA was all in on Jeffrey Epstein. Now, my Republican colleagues have sent letters, they've posted, they've demanded disclosure. Donald Trump Jr., the president's own son, has tweeted dozens of times about this case. FBI Director Kash Patel swore under oath in front of the Senate that he would be transparent with the American public and release the Epstein files. He said, and I want to quote, "Make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened," that he would do that. That was his quote. Now, in February, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, told Fox News that Epstein's client list was, again, and I quote, "sitting on my desk right now to review," end quote. Now, they claim there was never a list. And this weekend, Donald Trump claimed that the files were written by Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Biden administration. These are bizarre reversals. And it's obvious to the American public. Someone is lying, and someone is trying to hide something. So let's look at the facts. We know Elon Musk said publicly on June 5th that Donald Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files. We know that Epstein died in a federal prison overseen by Donald Trump's Department of Justice. We know that Jeffrey Epstein in 2008 was given a generous non-prosecution agreement for sex trafficking charges. Now, that agreement let him continue his criminal activities, and that agreement was offered by Alexandra Acosta, who was Donald Trump's chosen Secretary of Labor. That's not all. We know that Donald Trump and Epstein had a long-standing personal relationship. Epstein told one writer, and I quote, "I was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years." End quote. Donald Trump told New York Magazine in 2002, and I want to quote this. Quote, this is Donald Trump. "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life." Unquote. That's disgusting, wrong, and we must inquire more information. The truth is we don't know what the facts are in this case. Now, I can't explain why the Trump administration have changed their minds on Epstein, but their behavior raises questions. This is the time that we must demand answers, and the Oversight Committee is going to do just that. And I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
All right, let's talk about what just happened on the House floor, because this wasn't some vague partisan rant. This was Robert Garsha calmly lining up receipts, contradictions, and sworn statements, and then asking a question that honestly shouldn't even be controversial. Why are the Epstein files still being hidden, and who's lying about it? Garsha starts by directly calling out Donald Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi, demanding transparency. And immediately, we run into the first major red flag. Over the weekend, Trump brushed off Jeffrey Epstein by saying, "Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." Nobody cares. That alone tells you how detached that statement is from reality. Across the political spectrum, people care deeply about Epstein because his crimes involved abuse, trafficking, and powerful people who may have been protected for years. And Garsha smartly points out the irony here. MAGA world has not been quiet about Epstein. Republicans have demanded disclosures. Right-wing influencers have built entire brands around exposing elites. Donald Trump Jr. himself tweeted obsessively about Epstein. So when Trump suddenly acts like this is irrelevant, it raises a serious question. What changed? Then Garsha brings Kash Patel into this and this is where things get uncomfortable. Patel, now FBI director, swore under oath to the Senate that he would be transparent with the American people and release the Epstein files. His words weren't vague. He said the public deserved to know the full weight of what happened. That's a promise made under oath, not a campaign rally, not a podcast, under oath. Now let's add Pam Bondi to the mix. Back in February, Bondi went on Fox News and said Epstein's client list was sitting on my desk right now to review. Those were her words. Fast forward to now, and suddenly we're told there was never a list at all. So which is it? Was it on her desk, or did it never exist? Both cannot be true at the same time. And if that wasn't strange enough, Trump then claims the files were written by Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Biden administration. Think about how absurd that is for a second. Epstein died in federal custody in 2019 under Trump's Department of Justice. Yet now we're supposed to believe Democrats somehow fabricated everything. This isn't clarification, it's deflection. Garsha then walks through the uncomfortable facts that the administration desperately wants people to forget. Elon Musk publicly stated that Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files. Epstein died in a federal prison overseen by Trump's DOJ. In 2008, Epstein received a shockingly generous non-prosecution agreement that allowed him to continue abusing minors. And who approved that deal? Alexander Acosta, later rewarded by Trump with the job of Secretary of Labor. Then comes the part that always gets glossed over. Trump and Epstein weren't strangers. Epstein himself claimed he was Trump's closest friend for a decade. Trump openly spoke about Epstein in the early 2000s in a way that, in hindsight, is deeply disturbing. This isn't guilt by association for the sake of drama. These are documented relationships, documented statements, and documented decisions. What Garsha does well here is avoid jumping to conclusions. He doesn't claim to know exactly what's in the files. Instead, he focuses on behavior, reversals, broken promises, contradictions. When people in power keep changing their story, it's not unreasonable to ask why. And this is where the Oversight Committee comes in. Garsha makes it clear that Congress has a responsibility to demand answers, not just accept shifting narratives. Transparency isn't optional when public officials swear under oath and then walk it back when it becomes politically inconvenient. What makes this moment so important is just Epstein. It's the precedent being set. We are watching a pattern where powerful people promise transparency when it sounds good, then retreat into excuses and conspiracy theories when accountability gets uncomfortable. Kash Patel said the American people deserved the truth. Pam Bondi said the files were right there on her desk. Donald Trump's inner circle amplified this issue for years, until suddenly they decided it didn't matter anymore. That should alarm everyone, regardless of party. If the Epstein files truly contain nothing relevant, then release them and put the questions to rest. If they do contain damaging information, then hiding them only deepens public mistrust. Democracy does not function when the public is asked to blindly trust officials who keep contradicting themselves. Robert Garsha didn't accuse. He didn't speculate wildly. He connected dots that are already out in the open and asked for honesty. And the fact that this simple demand is being met with deflection, denial, and finger-pointing tells us everything we need to know about how fragile this administration's story really is. This isn't about political theater. It's about whether the justice system applies equally or whether powerful figures get to rewrite reality when the spotlight gets too close. The American people were promised transparency. They deserve it. And until those files are released, every excuse coming from the top deserves skepticism. If you think Congress should keep pushing for the truth, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed for more breakdowns like this.